I think it's important to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to ATV use for deer hunting. And we love our ATVs, but how good are they for actually deer hunting? And that's the big question. I've talked about for years, ATVs spook deer. And before you just turn this, let me reason with you and talk to you about it. I know you just justified the purchase of that ATV or side-by-side to your significant other and said, we have to have it for deer hunting. This is gonna make life easier and to help me shoot more deer, and please, can I buy it? And I know you just justified that. And I think that's where a lot of this falls. People, they don't want their spouse to hear this talk right here and say, this big giant, and I've seen it where UP, Michigan, people are going up there and they're using their ATVs to hunt with and get into their blinds on public land, and they're wheeling down the road, just you can hear that ATV from 3 miles away in the flat land up there, maybe even more, and so can the deer. And then they're driving that in, and then they're walking 200 yards into their blind, and that's the only time they use the ATV all year, other than maybe getting to that blind and working on it. But they got to have that. Where if they drove their pickup truck in and you just had that gas pickup truck, you could sneak right in, turn it off, the deer never even know that you came in. Jen and I were driving around last night with Jackson. We were driving down our dirt road by the house, and we're driving down the road, and we see a pile of deer come off the field and run across and go down to their cover. They'd come out of that cover, cross the dirt road by some houses, and got up in that field. We were using the ATV and the side-by-side, this one right here. And we're going out, no lights on. It was before dark. And those things were running away, and guarantee you, because of the ATV. If we had the pickup truck, we could have drove right up beside him and looked at him. They don't like the ATV noise. Now, we use ours. We are on this land with that machine. We had our old Blue Ranger. We have a Kubota with tracks on it, and we use those machines a lot on the land. We're out on the property, I would say 50% of days at least in the off season on our land. So over half of all days. And some of that's just going for cruises and rides, but we cut timber on the property for bedding areas. We have to have all these access trails, so we're cutting timber on the access trails to actually be able to use access trails. We're changing trail cam batteries. We're setting out new trail cameras. We're moving stands around. We're filling water holes. We're seeding. We have so much that we do on the property. I could list. I mean, look at our monthly deer chores, and that kind of gives you an example of what we're doing. The side-by-side is critical. We all know it's a good thing. Side-by-side, you can see my chainsaw. It's right up on the side up there. I have a chainsaw press, they call it. We put it on the side of the ATV, so we always have it. We need it so often. However, when it comes to deer hunting, they can be terrible. I've even had some guides over here in Buffalo County. I had one guide say, well, we've had clients that have shot Boone and Crockett bucks using the ATVs, so they must be good. We always use ATVs, but what they don't tell you, when we're out on our small parcel right here and when we go to client properties, I expect you, if you hunt like we talk about, you manage your property like we talk about, you should shoot 80% of the target bucks in the area. This expands out a mile. You should shoot 80% of those bucks over a 10-year period. That's the percentage of success that I demand on my own property, for ourselves, for my clients. Those guides in a lot of areas, Buffalo County, if you're hitting 20-25% success rate with your clients, you're doing really good. And a lot of times it's a lot less than that. So they demand 20% success, 25. I demand 80. And typically I'm demanding 100% with that first tag, and then that second tag I'm using half the time. So I'm demanding 150% success rate for myself, for Jen. That's the success rate that we demand, at least that one tag and then another one on our target bucks, our top 3 or 4 bucks. We want to take them out. I apologize for cutting in the video. I'll try to keep this 20 seconds or less, but we're thinking about planting, and so is Lincoln at Packermaxx. And right now he doesn't offer very many deals. It's $50 off. Check out the code WHS50. It's in the link in the description. Try them. Great product. Check it out. You won't be sorry. The point is we demand a high level of success. And that's what I want for you on this channel. I don't want you to say, well, we just show up and deer hunt. We really don't care what we shoot. This isn't participation trophy time. This is, we want success. Success we can actually measure. So when it comes to ATVs, they don't get used to the ATV. Does, fawns, lesser deer, they get used to it. They walk, they stand there, you drive by, they get up, they watch you drive by. What you don't know is the oldest buck in the neighborhood, whether it was a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, they're gone before you even get close to where those does and fawns are. They're gone. They're just running away. When we watched those deer running yesterday, those deer were approximately 300 to 400 yards away when they were running from us and we were on a dirt road. Yeah, they quote get used to it. They get used to it. And when deer get used to you, this is entirely another video. It's not they're getting used to it, they're patterning you. There's a big difference. Those does and fawns, when you drive by in the ATV, as soon as you stop, they run. They've patterned you to know that you're going to just keep driving by. Now, a mature buck who has a lot lower tolerance levels for that kind of behavior, he's gone already. But even the deer that get, quote, used to you are just patterning you, and they know that you're going to continue on. No different than if you're bouncing a ball in the backyard in a subdivision setting, and there's a giant buck in there that's only bedded 100 yards away because that's the cover he has to bed in. They'll get used to that noise over there. They'll get used to you getting in and out of the car. They're getting used to you mowing your lawn, making noise around the house. But as soon as that noise transfers into the woods, they're gone. Not that they got used to you, they patterned you. And then they know your patterns aren't coming into the woods at that point. There's a big difference, and that applies to ATVs. Now, for some of you, there's a lot of properties we go to that, you know, around here in this hill country. Maybe your cabin's here, your property's a mile out, you have to go through some swampy area, and then you get out to your woods. Well, not everyone can go walk 2 miles to their blind every day. Or not everyone can go up these bluffs around here. You know, there's some of my stands. When I shot my buck in Wisconsin this year, that was a 400-foot change in elevation and a 40-minute walk in, and I had to take several breaks. You know, that's common when we go into a stand. It's uphill every single step. Not everyone can take, and not everyone can walk in. So what I really encourage you to do, and you can kind of see these bluffs back here. I mean, you can see where we're going down. I mean, this trail right here just continues to go down. So again, not everyone can do that. Take your ATV. What I've encouraged with client properties, we'll go up to a stepping spot. So let's say, you can imagine this hillside right over out there, we're dropping down 100 feet in elevation over the next 100 yards. So if you had a parking area down there with your ATV, you park it there, and then you walk up here to hunt, get up on these ridges, and then you're building the bedding areas on the back side. That's a way that you can reduce the effect and the negativity of the stress of hunting, and you still can enjoy the hunt. Because if you can't get up on the property or walk back 2 miles, it's not very enjoyable. Maybe you don't round the corner around a big cedar swamp. You park your machine, have a parking area, and then you walk into your stand locations. The fear is always that, you know, deer can hear these ATVs coming from a mile away. So they hear that ATV. We had a property in Wisconsin where we hunted, and we still do. And when the people hunted the land that we hunt now, they would fire up their machine at their house. They had to drive a half mile before they got on the land. We're sitting on the other land, waiting in our stands already, because they're coming in at first light. We're already out in our stand locations. We would have the entire deer herd that was on the land that we hunt now run onto the property right in our laps, and they hadn't even entered the property with their machines. The deer just got used to it. They patterned them. They knew that when that ATV started and they started going down the road, they needed to clear off the property, because it only takes 3 or 4 times, 2 times, where they hear this, then they see you. The next time they hear it, then they see you again. By the 3rd time, they're gone, so you don't see them. That's because they pattern you. We love our ATVs. We use them for work and play on the property, and that's another point too, is that, you know, in the off season, you know, it doesn't matter what you do. What a shame that people stay off their land all year because they think that's better, and then they overpressure their food sources, their blinds, their stands, have a poor hunt, and the one time a year that it should be the most of a sanctuary is during hunting season, and they're pressuring their land the most at that time. People need to flip it. Enjoy your property in the off season. ATVs can be a part of that. We couldn't do our job, we couldn't do our career, what we love, our passion, without these machines. And that's why we have tracks on them. Even on a somewhat dry day like this, if we get into any mud, if we have wheels, we're not getting back up this hill. If there's any kind of slick terrain, let alone a half-inch of wet snow, we're not getting back up this hill. Let alone we might be sliding pretty dangerously down without those tracks. So we have tracks on both machines right now. When it dries up a little more, we'll take them off the Kubota for spraying and turning, but even then we can't come back here and spray when it's wet a little bit. We have to wait till dry periods, and it's been dry for a little while to get down. You can see all the trees that have been cut off this hillside right here. They're cut off along here because we want sunlight coming down into this road. For one, we want it to grow the seed that's in here, and our GreenMaxx traffic blend through Pure Wildlife blends, we want that to grow on here. And so we have to get sun to it. There's nothing that is shade tolerant, meaning that it'll grow great in total shade. But we want to preserve this area in here. That's why we need to get sunlight into it. Again, we love our ATVs, but rest assured they're patterning you. I don't know anywhere where it's better to have the ATV. And when you talk about farm machinery, how many times people say, well, access my stand with a tractor and get dropped off. That's great in those fence rows, areas where they're used to seeing tractors, but not when you drive a quarter mile back in the woods. The deer aren't used to seeing your tractor there. Again, it's like the kid bouncing the basketball. They're used to that, used to the tractor out in the field, but they're not used to that sound going into their bedroom. And ATVs, a lot of times anywhere, they have a different purr to them. They're a lot louder. The machines are a lot louder. Those deer know you're coming, rest assured. Try to reduce the effects if you can in areas, but never, never, please, don't look at it like, boy, these ATVs, they're doing nothing. The deer get used to it. Again, always remember they're patterning you. And when it comes to a mature buck, he's long gone. ATVs are great, use them for work and fun. But when it comes to deer hunting, the more you can take the ATV out of the deer hunt, and the noise, the stress that it causes deer, the higher success level you'll find each and every deer season.